So first time trying this, I'm going to roast a whole hog, and this is what it looks like when it was finished. So I saw at Costco these whole hogs, first time I've seen them there, and this one here is 20 kilos. And what we've done is we've started to sew up the belly, and inside of it we rubbed it down all on the inside with olive oil and with salt. We'll stitch up that belly so that when we roast it, it will keep as much moisture, juice, steam, flavours inside the pork, and hopefully not too much escapes, keeping that meat yummy and moist. All over it, we have left it in the fridge for a week to defrost because it's solid as a rock, and all over we've rubbed salt on it, and you can see that the salt now is after it's defrosted and we've put salt on it, it's starting to draw the moisture out. So it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon at this stage, and what we're going to do is put it back in the fridge like this with the salt on it, take it out at 3 a.m. tomorrow morning, let it sit for about 4 hours, and the intention is to get this on our Weber Ranch Kettle at about 7 a.m. in the morning and aim for a 5-hour cook. So here we are the next morning. This is about 6 a.m. We've set our Weber kettle up, as you can see there, with 2 charcoals down the side and lit those up so it'll sort of do a slow burn. When we've taken the pork out of the fridge, this is what it looks like. We've prepared a little bit of an injection marinade there that we're going to inject into the butts and into the arms and all the thick parts of the meat, and you can see how much water has come out there while it's sat out of the fridge, out of the pork, all that water. So we're going to get it off this plastic, pat it dry. I'll place it here on some clean foil, and now you can see as I've finished patting it dry how nice and clean the hog actually looks. We've tied the legs up because the Weber is 90 centimeters wide and the pork in its entirety is a bit longer than that, so it wouldn't fit, so we tied it up a bit. And now we've got her on the barbecue ready to go on our Weber Ranch, our massive oversized Weber. Got some drip trays underneath to catch everything, and you can see she just fits perfectly. 20 kilos of whole hog. We're going to just lightly salt the skin again to assist in drawing the moisture out while it cooks and get it as crispy as we can, hopefully. So we're going to start this off and let the temperature rise slowly so that the Weber cooks it through, and hopefully at the end it'll be hot enough under that Weber kettle to get that skin perfectly crackling. So after an hour, this is what we've got at 8 a.m. We've got 220 internal temperature, that's our iGrill graph there, and 69 inside the thigh of the meat with a 220 ambient Fahrenheit. An hour later, at 9 o'clock, we've got a 300 degree ambient temperature and 108 degrees Fahrenheit internally of the meat of the hog. And then when we reach 10 o'clock, we were at 311 Fahrenheit ambient, and then you can see this perfectly steadily rising graph at 146 degrees Fahrenheit. You can see 3 hours there of perfect cooking, steady rising temp. So now at 10 o'clock, what we did is we lifted the lid to have a look at how we're going, and you can see that the salt has pretty much done its job. It's got a beautiful colour on it already. So what we want to do now is we want to scrape off all that excess salt, because we don't want to eat that. It's flavoured the skin already. It's done its job of drawing out the moisture, and once we scrape that off, we've got just a moist towelette that we have put liberally olive oil through it, and we've rubbed that towelette with olive oil all over the pork, and that's why now it's nice and shiny and glistening, and the olive oil is going to help with the rest of that crisping up process of the skin. So this is at about 10 o'clock. Now at 11 o'clock, you can see our ambient temperature there in the kettle is getting well above 380 degrees, and the internal temperature of the meat is 174. We want to pull this off at about 195 or so. So here we are now at about 11 o'clock, and what we've noticed is that the underside of the pork isn't crisping up as much as the outside, so we're actually going to flip the pork, the hog, to get some more temperature and hot air getting around the base of the belly. So here we are now, it is now 12:15, and we've been going for 5 hours and 15 minutes, and the pork has reached the internal temperature of 200 degrees Fahrenheit, and the pork skin is perfectly crispy. So now we're going to take him off and see what he looks like and how he tastes, and let it rest for about 15 minutes, 20 minutes before we serve it up.
We have crackling. We have pull off the bone meat. Yum. I'm calling that success.
Alright, if you want to get it ready, get all the plates and stuff.
He's not.